may want to know some stuff about me. So I'll start off with the number one question I get asked, which is, I go by Cymberly, but if you call me Cymberly, I will answer to it. It's like a second name to me. I won't be offended, so it's totally fine, whatever you call me. If you ever need my contact information, this is it. So if you ever feel, I know we have our club leaders and we have our advisors and you go that route, but if you ever feel like you're getting stuck and you need some additional support, this is my contact information. You are free to reach out to me at any time to talk about whatever you want. So I thought I'd start this off by talking about my personal relationship that I have with my dogs. This is Liberty, Justine, and Philip, and they have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. These were, the black dog is Liberty, and she is my heart dog. I miss her, and I think about her all the time. I still cry and miss her. She lived with me for 16 and a half years. And then we also had Justine was part of the crew. She was super shy and skittish and only really liked me. She was afraid of everything. And then Philip, everybody loved Philip. He was so friendly, and when people came over, he'd just wag his tail and go up and greet them. And they all have their own unique personalities, just as every dog does. So even though I can't see them anymore physically, I still like to see my dogs in different versions of the sky. So Liberty I see in a pink sunset when the sunset is bright pink. Justine I see in the sky when it's blue and purple and yellow and pink. And then Philip shows up in just the sunniest sky because he was such a sunny boy. And I also believe that each dog that is brought into our lives teaches us a lesson. I think they're all telling us something. Liberty, she taught me how to be present. We would go on walks every day, and she just enjoyed the walk, looking around, checking things out, strolling along, just being in the present moment. And she really taught me also how to be in the present moment, and that's such a gift. Justine taught me to be fearless. When people would come over, she was scared, she'd be shaken, but she'd still bark at them and let them know. And so she taught me that even in the face of something that I'm scared of, to still stand up and say what I feel. And Philip, he taught me to be accepting, to welcome people that came into my space. And this isn't something that necessarily comes natural for me. I'm a little bit more of an introvert. But he really taught me that if someone comes in my space, that I make them feel welcome. And I appreciate that gift that he gave to me. So now I have two other dogs in my life. This is Lido and Disco. And Lido is the cuddliest boy. He's the best cuddler. He wants to be a good boy. He'll do anything for me. And then Disco is crazy. And we love her. She's so cute. She often has a carrot in her mouth, and she'll come up and just like put it in your face so you know. And they're best friends. They're Chihuahuas, Chihuahua weed dogs. And then this is the guy I hang out with. His name is Ben. He's my partner. And we actually really started bonding and talking over dogs. I had just lost my Chihuahuas, and he also had 3 dogs that were older, and they were passing away during that time. And it was just something we ended up bonding over, and then we've got to create our own family with our dogs, Lido and Disco, and sometimes he'll attend some of the volunteer events as well. So you might see this guy with tattoos around. He's a chef, so I never cook any meals, and it's amazing. I live in the Lakewood Ranch area. I know there's a Lakewood Ranch Club. Yes. And Amra and I are committed to visiting a lot of the clubs at the beginning of this year. The local clubs, we're going to try and come out and just be present and meet you guys and the puppy raisers as well. So this is the area that I live in. I'm originally from Lubbock, Texas. So it's kind of up in the Panhandle, if you don't know exactly where that is. And if you know anything about college football, it is the home of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And so I absolutely broke my dad's heart when I went to the University of Texas at Austin, which is the rival school. So after I went to school, what Titus said, I went on to work in a corporate world. I was working a lot with software development. We were looking at building different websites and mobile applications for a variety of different businesses. I would take a look at like their full makeup, their processes, their tools, everything they're using. And we would evaluate their programs and determine how to make more efficient use using technology. So this was my background, and I did this for a long time, and I really loved it. And then I got to the point where I actually didn't love it anymore. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but it wasn't going to be this anymore. And so I decided to take a trip. I went to Namibia, Africa, and I volunteered at an animal sanctuary. This is one of the last days I was there, and these 3 baboons climbed up on me, and I was like, somebody take a picture! This was really a special and an amazing moment. After I left that trip, I had some really strong feelings about what I wanted to do next with my life. And so I went home and I had a whiteboard, and I wrote down what I wanted to change or do differently in my life. And if you ever want to change or do something different in your life, write it down. If you can do it every day, that's even better. And if you really want to change something about your life, start telling people. Telling people that you want to change something, they'll hold you accountable, and then you'll be more likely to take action and make a change in your life. So the first thing I wrote down was I was going to sell my house and I was going to move to the beach. It was all I could think about. I wanted to live by the beach. I said I was going to do it when I retired or I was older. Why? Why did I have to wait? I was going to do it now. I was going to quit my job and I was going to take some time off. I had worked my entire career. I always knew the next step, what I was going to do with my life. And I just wanted to take some time off and not do anything, do whatever I wanted, volunteer with animals. And I was going to figure out a way to work with animals. It wasn't my background, but I have always loved animals since I was a little kid. And I wanted to figure out how I could be doing something to work with animals and make a difference in this world, because I didn't feel like I was doing that. So, in 2020, I did sell my house and I moved to Sarasota. And I'm not sure if you guys remember anything about 2020, but there was a pandemic. And so when I moved out here, I didn't have any friends. I didn't have a job. I didn't know anyone. I couldn't meet anyone. I couldn't even go eat at a restaurant, you know? And around this time, too, I still had 2 of my chihuahuas, and I knew that they were dying. I knew that it was the end. So I was out here by myself. My dogs were dying. This was like a really sad time for me. But also, I had some really cool experiences. I got to travel to Belize, and I volunteered at an animal sanctuary there, and I worked with these 2 guys, these howler monkeys. This is Inca. And this is Millie with the cleft lip. And this organization is really cool. They rehabilitate howler monkeys, which are an endangered species. It takes about 3 to 4 years for the full process, but these guys are going to be released within the next year into the wild. Like, that's so cool. And I got to spend 8 hours a day in a cage with these guys. They would climb all over me. And if you don't know, howler monkeys actually purr, so they'd come up on my neck and just sit here and purr, and it was incredible and amazing. And that sounds really cool, but also if you've ever worked at like an animal sanctuary or anything like that, the living conditions aren't like so amazing. So doing this little bit of volunteering, I would love to do something like this again, but I realized I'm not going to do this like a full-time job or anything. Like, I need running hot water. So I came back to Sarasota and I volunteered at Moat Aquarium. And I volunteered there enough that they actually let me be an intern there, even though I didn't have a biology background and I was much older than all of their other interns. But I got to come in, I would wash 100 heads of lettuce, I'd get to feed the manatees. I eventually got to graduate up to cleaning the otter enclosure, which I felt so amazing to get to do that. And doing this, I also learned that this is a lot of physical labor, and I'm sort of a smaller person, and this killed me every single day to do this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, maybe this isn't really for me either. But during this time, I started pet sitting for some of the employees there. And these are some of the dogs that I was taking care of. And when I started doing this, I really just had this realization. I got to work with these monkeys. I've gone to Africa and worked with cheetahs and otters and manatees and everything, and it was so cool. But the truth of the matter is that there is just nothing better than a dog. Dogs really are the best. And about that time that I had sort of come to this realization and conclusion, I found out about Dogs Inc., and I came to work here. I got to meet Lisa O'Kane and Titus, and they brought me on board. I've worked in the campus volunteer program for about 1.5 years, and it's amazing. If people ever ask me about my job or what I'm doing, do I like my job? I'm like, I work with volunteers that like dogs, and we talk about dogs all day. Like, it's really amazing. And I get paid to do that, you know? That's really cool. I'm so honored that I get to work here. I'm honored that I get to take on this new role. And I hope that each one of you will feel proud, and I hope that you'll see some changes too over time that maybe you've wanted, maybe you've talked about. Maybe we can bring that to life as a team together. So I do want to talk a little bit about our team, the volunteer program department. So I'm not sure if anyone has seen sort of this org chart, but this is sort of the full group of everybody. And I'm going to talk about every single person on here. So we're going to take a look at really the campus volunteer program. So we are hiring a new campus volunteer manager. Her name is Melissa Silver, and she'll be starting on the 22nd. And she's really going to help oversee the campus volunteer program that's going on here. She'll be the main point of contact for campus volunteers. She'll have oversight of the welcome desk and the gift shop, and she's going to be working with our volunteer event team to put on events for our campus volunteers. Under her is Miss Stephanie Williams, who is back here. She's our welcome desk coordinator. She manages the welcome desk and the volunteers that assist us every day at the welcome desk. She's our first impression to new and returning guests. And over the past year, Stephanie and I have really grown in our relationship together, and I've got to see her blossom and just come into being confident. And I'm really proud of the work that Stephanie's done at the welcome desk. Woo. Yeah! Yes, we love Stephanie. The next person we love is Miss Robin Cavallari. This is our volunteer program coordinator, and she has assisted me a lot with the campus volunteer program. And as we look at really incorporating our departments together, she's going to also be helping a lot with some really fun database stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Our next group of individuals is our event team. So Miss Dana Mudd, who's in the back right here, right? With her, we're going to have a new volunteer event coordinator join us on Monday named Kylie Gallagher. And so she's going to be helping us plan our events. So we already have our puppy raising events, our freshman orientations, our conferences, the picnic, our info sessions, so many things. And also they will be helping with campus volunteer events as well. So we have our appreciation banquets, we have potlucks, periodic thank you celebrations, continuing education, things like that. So they'll also be helping manage all of those events that we have going on. And we're looking to have like a more cohesive experience for all the volunteers. Next up is really our puppy raising team and the people that you are so familiar with. So of course we have Amanda Ronning. Yes. Amanda. She does so many things. This list is just silly because she does so many things. One of the things I want to really give her a shout out for is some of the data that she does keep track of. And she did make us aware of certain things that if we had kept the classes the way they are and everything was coming in, she had concerns that the puppy raising age, bringing them in, was going to increase, and we do recognize and acknowledge that's already an issue. So Amanda bringing that to our attention, we were able to add more puppies to come in for the next string and our March string as well. So because of her, we were able to do that. So thank you, Amanda. She does great at what she does. And in her team, we have Allie Johnson, who also does many things. She's responsible for our Razor reunions. A lot of the application processing she helps with as well. The puppy raiser adoptions, maintaining the club leader mailbox and taking care of all of that, and many other things. And then we have Patty, who is back here with Miss Dana as well. She assists with puppy raiser biographies, the puppy program stays and neuters, maintaining Razor's Edge, which is one of our databases, annual holiday photos, which came out, and those were so cute, adorable. And then assists with photos, events, many things that aren't on here as well. So thank you, Patty. And then of course, the team that you're probably most familiar with is our advisor team, right? So we have Miss Amra Dillard-Rickwa, our puppy training manager. She is developing and maintaining our puppy training curriculum. She provides support to our advisors, covers advisor duties. She creates the IFT list for puppies. She supervises emergency medical after hours length. And again, this is another ridiculous list because she does so much more than this. And currently, she oversees 4 clubs with 38 different puppies. We are hiring another advisor, and the intention is that eventually Amra will actually be able to move these puppy clubs to the advisor so that she can actually really fully oversee the training program and bring more to it. And then we have all of our other amazing team members. So we have Deb Donnelly. She's our only advisor that has an entirely remote team. Woo, Deb! Yeah! Woo, Deb! And she has 47 puppy raisers in her remote East Club, and then her club leader is John Spurling. We have Carrie, who has 8 clubs with 40 puppies. And Miss Carrie is over here. We also have Sandy, who oversees our Texas clubs. Yes. And our Remote West Club. We also have Hallie Wells, who has 9 clubs that she's overseeing currently. Yeah. And I'm happy to have her on board. Yes. We have Jenny, who loves and thinks is amazing, and she's always working. She's such a hard worker. Yes, Jenny. And then we also have Erin. Erin's with us today, and she oversees 4 clubs. But I think South Pinellas is our biggest club with 17 puppies. Okay. So those are our advisors that we have as part of our staff. And then I just want to talk a little bit about some things I've learned since taking on this role. This is like a short list. I'm learning something new every day. The first thing is, again, Miss Amanda with her amazing numbers. So in 2023, we had 226 puppy placements. In 2024, we had a total of 281. So we have a puppy that needs to go out. So as you can see, that's an increase, quite an increase over the year, and that is largely due to Amanda just like getting those puppies out like that. Some other things I've learned, Leslie was respected and admired by pack members and club leaders and puppy raisers, and I have big shoes to fill. Also, our puppy raising pack members are passionate about what they do, and they are working constantly. And I specifically put a picture of Jenny up here because she is working all the time. Our club leaders facilitate a lot of the communication between us and the puppy raisers. You take on a lot of that responsibility, and I had to throw in this cute picture of Alex and Grady that we got from a photo shoot because she's adorable. And there's a lot of coordination that we do with our genetics and reproduction department and our training departments as well. So this is a great photo, right? This is the moment. This is Courage. This is Nicole's dog. And this was a funny story that, I don't know, the semen had been lost on the plane, and the puppy, it was their last day in the heat cycle, and they just didn't think it was going to take, but they really wanted these puppies. And so I happened to be over there, and they were doing this ultrasound, and this is the moment they found out that she was indeed pregnant. So I want to talk about some future opportunities that I see for us in the program. I think the number one thing is we are looking at ways to find ways to decrease our current puppy raiser commitment time. So we acknowledge that over time it has slowly increased, and that is a pain point. And Lisa and I have been working with other departments to figure out ways that we can shorten that up, and we're hoping to decrease that within the next year. We're also looking at importing all of our puppy raisers and club leaders into Volgistics and VigNet. What that is that's the software management tool that we use to manage the campus volunteers. And there's just a lot of communication that we could do holistically instead of having separate ones that go to puppy raisers and separate ones that go to campus volunteers, and then you get 2 emails from us that are slightly different but say the same thing. So we're looking at trying to create a database where we have all our volunteers and we have all that information. So also when I have a campus volunteer come to an orientation, I know that they're a puppy raiser, right? I don't know that right now. I don't have that information. So by putting everyone in one database and everything, that'll help us know more information about you guys. We're going to review our remote programs. I put Deb up here, and see how we might utilize more online resources and make more efficiencies across the teams. We want to expand our national reach and provide club leaders with tools to help us with community outreach. I was talking to somebody earlier, but the idea is that we are giving you more tools to talk about us and spread awareness, because you guys really are the face out in the community for us. And then just streamline our processes and some of our communication. There's a lot of duplicate data that we go and find, and then we find it over here, and some of that, just it's a lot of like cleanup that we could do to be a little bit faster and give you information a little bit quicker. I want to talk about some campus volunteer successes, just because this is the world that I'm coming from. And while I do this, I'm going to talk about some things, and then we're going to pass out some worksheets to you guys, and this is going to be a bit of an interactive portion. So I'm going to talk about some things, we're going to hand out a worksheet, and then I'm going to ask for you to write some stuff down and give me some feedback. So one of the things that we implemented this last year was basic handling classes with our service dog team. And so once a month, our campus volunteers would come up here and we would have a training class about a specific topic. And people would get to actually actively work with the dogs, and this was really helpful for them. This is actually a game they were playing of tic-tac-toe, and dogs had to either sit or lay down and stay. And if the dog moved, then you got out of the circle, and they were trying to complete a tic-tac-toe. So it was a game that we were playing, but it also gave the opportunity for these volunteers to do some dog handling and have an instructor there coaching them if there was anything that would be helpful. So our volunteers really liked this. We also had a Valentine's mix and mingle. This is Henry, and he loved these cookies. So around Valentine's Day, we just had an event up here, and we ended up making these dog treats, and we had icing, and all the volunteers got to decorate the cookies, and then we handed them out to the dogs that were in training. And this was this was kind of like my first interesting experience where I realized, like, oh, all these departments have to be involved, because I mean, the cookie, I had to talk to the vet about it and make sure that was okay. We talked to Fromm to get a recipe for the cookie. And my boyfriend Ben made all of the cookies and the icing and everything. But this was a really fun event, and we had like a little photo shoot that people got to do with the dogs, and they really enjoyed that as well. So I think it's good if we go ahead and start passing out these sheets. And what I first would like you to just take maybe 4 or 5 minutes to answer what type of events or continuing education would be helpful for you or for puppy raisers. So any ideas you have about any kind of continuing education, anything that we could offer that we're not currently doing for you that you think would be helpful, if you could just write down your ideas and give them to us, that would be great. Party, I'm sure some of you got to attend it, and this was a combined volunteer that we had for campus volunteers and puppy raisers. We're all invited, and this is when we rebranded and had a big party. This was really successful. A lot of people liked that we commingled the groups. Another event that we have for our volunteers is an appreciation banquet that we have in the springtime. So we have, a cute little theme. This was florals and pastels, and everybody gets dressed up, and then we actually will hand out awards for their service and their time that they've spent with us, and we have like a formal dinner, and a speaker that comes and tells their story about their dog. So this is something that our volunteers on the campus like. And then we also have an annual holiday party that we do. It's a potluck. And these awards are voted on by staff members. They nominate particular volunteers. This theme was metallics and sequins. And then they all got this little disco ball planter for their award. So my next question for you guys is sort of twofold. Do you have any thoughts on combined volunteer events and or specific puppy raiser events? And then a second question is, what are meaningful ways that we can acknowledge club leaders and puppy raisers for the work that they're doing? It might not be a banquet like we have here, but what is something else meaningful I got to talk to a woman. She had a, where are you, with your necklace, with your little bones? Yes. She has a necklace with like all these little bones of every single dog that she's ever raised. And on the back it says what their career went on to be. Like, is there anything like meaningful or cool or interesting like that that you think would feel special for you? And I'll give you some time to write that down. The next thing. So Titus actually did reference the weekly WAG, and he talked about that. So this is a weekly newsletter that we send out to the campus volunteers, and it just talks about what's going on campus. There's always stuff happening, and I had found when I first kind of took this over, we were sending out communication probably 3 or 4 times a week to everybody. And so we came up with this format and idea to just send out one sort of like weekly communication, and this has been received very well. Another thing that we started to do is for people, for the volunteers who are in Puppy Academy, they get the puppy periodical. And so this one is specifically written in conjunction with Puppy Academy. We talk about what's going on over there, if there's any updates regarding rules or procedures or movements in the kennel. All of that is like talked about in here. And then we also have the Canine Chronicle, and this is for the dogs that are at Canine University and Canine Assessment Center. They're here in training. And so this is sort of an update that we send out to the volunteers that work in those buildings to just give an idea of like what's going on with the dogs there. There's a featured dog of the month that we talk about and things like that. And I feel like these have been really well received. It's sort of consistent with like the look and the feel across the communication. And so my next question for you is, what types of communication would be helpful for club leaders to receive, and what kind of communication would be helpful for puppy raisers? So is there some information that we could be more consistently giving to you that we're not in a consistent way, or is there something we could be providing puppy raisers? I'll give you a few minutes on that. Logistics. It's called Volgistics and VicNet interchangeably just to be like extra confusing. But I want to talk a little bit about this and see if you have ideas of how it may apply to some of the things that you're doing. So this is a dashboard. So all of our campus volunteers have a login, and they come here to this dashboard view that has like standard information about like what's going on campus, your gate codes, that stuff. So you have this dashboard view that all the volunteers can see. And then you also have scheduling. So in this particular instance, this volunteer, which is Selena, because she volunteers here all the time, she's like a full-time employee. This is showing me the different shifts that she has signed up for, and she's able to add and remove herself from those shifts. So there's sort of this scheduling feature that you have, and like, I don't know, maybe it could work in your puppy clubs where you have people sign up to come to your club and you actually know who's going to attend, and then this actually tracks if they showed up and if they attended. So I don't know, just like think about maybe if there's a way that some scheduling sort of tool could be helpful for you. In addition, we have something called checklist within the tool, and right now we have sort of numbers and then we have letters, and this is right now in the database just so we can distinguish the process. But these numbers are the things that have to happen in order for a campus volunteer to be onboarded. So I believe you guys kind of like share a Google Doc and maybe and go through that sometimes to figure out where if they've done all their onboarding steps. So we can create that in the system and track it. I can track that they did what they're supposed to do, and then everybody has a view into what this volunteer has done or where they're at in the process. and what still needs to be done. I can pull reports on that. So is there a way that maybe checklists could be helpful for you in managing the volunteers that you guys oversee? And then there's also categories that exist within logistics. And so the way we have it broken out for campus volunteers is we have our campus, and then we have different role types like administration and kitchen helper and welcome desk, right? And then we are doing stuff with our puppy parents in here as well. But I don't know, like maybe for your categories, it's broken out by advisor, and then you have the different groups under there, the different puppy clubs underneath there, and then you can email these specific groups. So if I have, my full puppy club, really there's an easy way to go in here and just tag those volunteers that are in that club and then email them specifically. So there's a way to categorize people and then communicate with them in that way. So how might a system like Logistics or VicNet help you? I know that's super ambiguous because you don't really know what I'm talking about, but like any kind of dashboard or scheduling, checklist, categories, putting people in categories, how might something like this be beneficial and help you do what you need to do? So I'll give you a few minutes for this.